For the first time in ERL history, welcome to Poland. Revo on pole from Ica World and the Red Devil alongside him, teammates Remy LeBeau and Arthur Catfish. Then Daf Sanchez starting 6th with the 77 alongside. Then Hispanis Jr., Tenali Gabo and home driver Xavier Kubica in 10th. Then Slavic Leclerc, Sebastian Ocampo, Oscar Falstad and UK Ball. Then it's Ray Shen, championship leader Marcus Nelson down in 16th. And Pierre Gasly, Daniel Bogdasarov, Zach Wallace, Cosmas Medicis, Scotland Rotak and Vestio. Well, the first 7 rounds of the championship have taken us across the world. We're in the Polish region for the first time. All 5 lights go on. And we go green in Warsaw. Very good start from Ica World off the line from the front row. In fact, draws level with Revo into turn number 1. Will he be able to get himself into the lead? Yes, he does. That is Ica World to the race lead. Home driver Xavier Kubica with a 5-second time penalty, which he will serve in pit lane. But out in front, Remy LeBeau also getting past the Italian driver and looking for a way to try and get past the Angolan as well. Ica World leading from Remy, and further back the other Italian of Tenali Gabo getting a 5-second time penalty. Someone probably went off for a second there. Xavier Kubica with a 10-second time penalty. If he can come back from that, it would be absolutely astonishing. But it's never happened before. And the likelihood of it happening again is slim to none. On board with the UK Ball, he's got a bit of damage as Xavier Kubica now up into 10th position. And yeah, don't think anyone actually got too much damage, but someone probably would have gone off track. As we now go to start lap 2 of 15, Ica World leading for Trackhouse Mercedes ahead of Remy LeBeau. Remy has said that it only seems like he's got a surefire victory in one location. It's into the pits comes the Red Devil and Babinis Jr. Both of them with front wing damage. Out of the pits comes Babinis Jr. on the mediums. The Red Devil will be coming out on a set of hard tires, which will see him possibly to the end of this race. So Kiro Race Co. believing that maybe they can get themselves to the end with that, while their other drivers taking the lead. Remy LeBeau leads the Warsaw E-Prix on lap 2 of 15. And in fact, Revo closing in on the back of that blue and green Trackhouse Mercedes car. But look, he's right behind him. It's Catfish looking for a way to get himself onto the podium after dropping out of the top position in the championship. And in fact, he's looking to try and go around the outside of Revo. Doesn't quite make the move quite yet. As we stay on board with the Malaysian driver in car number 2, hopefully driving car number 1 next season is what team principal Jonathan Sims said. And we're on to lap 3. Catfish with the fastest lap, a 106.250. Gets himself up into 3rd. Ocampo sets a 105.7. Fastest laps do not give you points in the ERL Formula E series, unlike in the ERL IndyCar series, whose last race in Sao Paulo was an absolute banger. If you haven't watched that yet, subscribe to the channel for more ERL content and look to the most recent video apart from this, which was the ERL Sao Paulo Grand Prix. As we rise up the hill, looking with Catfish, trying to close in on Ica in front of him. If Catfish manages to take the championship this season, honestly, I cannot think of a driver more deserving of it. In terms of the drivers that are still on the grid and drove in Season 1, he and Pablo Sierra are the 2 drivers yet to take the championship. And out of the 2 of them, I feel like Catfish probably deserves it more. He had been in, prior to this, 3 title battles, and he just couldn't stick the landing just because he was driving against the most successful driver in the ERL's history, and the first man to thwart the most successful driver in the ERL's history. It really wasn't a combination for a championship, but now he is the lead driver at Sims. He's holding off Revo as well. Soft tires, 65%, so they're not great, they're also not that bad. He should be able to make it to around lap 6, maybe lap 7, which is about half race distance. It's terms of the winning strategy today, we expect it to be a soft to soft. Maybe soft to medium, or a medium to soft. All I know for sure is that the winning driver will probably finish this race driving on the red-walled soft compound tyres, if not the yellow-walled medium compounds. Looking back with Iker, as Remy LeBeau still leading as we get past the third of the way through this race. Catfish gaining into turn number 1 as Scotland Rossack getting a 5-second time penalty, very close to a penalty for Catfish as well there. Just misses the back of that car. And Scotland getting a penalty for this man, Bogdasarov, with a puncture. Cable with a 5-second time penalty as well for colliding with the back of Oscar Folstad and defending from Tonali Gabo. But for Bogdasarov at the very end of lap 4 for him, that's not what he would want to see at all. And for the Mercedes driver, Reverse Theo, he's been given a 5-second time penalty as well. Both Mercedes drivers with penalties. Cable and Gabo fighting off the man who has taken his first race win already in his career very early on, but through circumstances very different to the way the race leader took his. Remy LeBeau still leading here in Poland. Now Iker, he's going to get attack mode heading down the straight. You can see the red button lighting up with only a handful of laps left to run. Will Iker try and get past? He cuts over the curb. He's lucky not to get a track limits warning. Does he try and send it down the inside? He looks to try and make a move. Didn't quite get the car stopped in time. He's going to get another dosage of attack mode. He's using attack charge as well. Down the inside goes the Angolan, and he takes back the race lead. That is Iker World currently leading, but still that gap, something to manage for the Trackhouse man, and he hasn't been able to manage it. Remy LeBeau, the Frenchman, back up into the race lead. They are side by side as they enter the third and final sector. Look at the state of the soft tyres on the Kiro driver's car. He's likely to pit at the end of this lap. What the hell was that camera angle? My God. Wow, we were under the track there. We're taking a screenshot of that and sending that to Marco Persky. As here comes Iker World on lap 7 of 15. The next stop that these drivers make will be their last in this race unless they get damaged. Ocampo and Leclerc into the pits as Leclerc's teammate now taking the lead. But an interesting thing of note, Iker World has a 5-second time penalty, likely for causing a collision. I doubt it would be for track limits. And the top 4 separated by just over a second right now, with Revo making up the tail end of that pack. He and Iker World, the only 2 drivers in the top 7 to be on the mediums. Daf Sanchez is on the hard tyres. He's really playing the long game here. And I know for a fact that their main aim is to try and get to the end of this race. Gabo comes in for his first stop off of those hard tyres as he's got a puncture. And he's serving his time penalty as well. Not the day in the office for the Sims Porsche driver. His teammate is fighting for this race lead. It's a bit of a train heading through these final few turns, and I expect one of these guys to come in. In comes Remy LeBeau, first man to stop out of the top 4 pack. Anyone else stopping in the top 6? No, they are not. And what tyres are going on for Remy? Those are soft tyres going on. For Pablo Sierra, what tyres are going on? For Falstaff, what's going on? Hard tyres going on, and a slow stop there. For Falstad, those are softs. For Pierre Gasly, it'll be medium tyres going on. So it seems like all the teams and drivers deciding to just stick with the tyre that they think works, unless they want to go for the hard tyre. If you go for the hard tyres, it's a guaranteed you make it to the end. But there's a risk that comes with it, and that risk is you're going to be slow as hell. As Cosmas Medicis now coming out of the pits, he will be met by Bogdasarov on pit lane exit as we watch Catfish all over the back. Bogdasarov getting a time penalty, causing a collision. Catfish lucky to not get any sort of penalty. Gabo is officially a lap down as Revo looks to try and get past the Sims Porsche man's teammate. The man he's fighting with in the championship aside from his own teammate, heading into the back straight. In come the race leaders. Revo into the race lead, and Gabo certainly a lap down. 6 laps to go, and Revo out in front. He is certainly doing a magnificent job out there. Soft tires going on for Ica World. It's the only smart decision to make. Xavier Kubica, he's going to be going on to the hard tires. And he was held there for 10 seconds to serve his penalty. Comes out of the pits now. In comes the DS Venturi driver of Babinus Jr. for his second and hopefully final stop. As coming to lap, Tonali Gabo is his countryman in Revo, and contact for the Italian. 5-second time penalty for Revo, causing a collision. We're lucky to not have any retirement so far in this race. But still, for Revo, that is certainly not ideal. He's down to 24% tire wear. Guys down at DS Venturi have waited this one out for a long time. They were betting on a safety car, a full course yellow rather, and unfortunately they didn't quite get that. In comes Revo as Catfish now heading through the final sector. Remy LeBeau currently in 4th. He's going to resume the race lead. As Versio coming into the pits as well. The guys down at Techeetah getting that pit stop done as quickly as they can. They've put him onto the hard tires. Remy LeBeau, fastest lap of the E-Prix of 105.6. Versio coming in for mediums. Some of these strategy decisions obviously going to be worked out quite quickly, as here comes Ica down the inside. Soft tires. On soft tires rather, and he's up into 8th position. Dav Sanchez is the man who leads this E-Prix on those very, very worn hard tires. There's a low chance of him making it to the end on those. He's gonna have to pit, I can tell you that much. And if you're wondering why so many teams are making strategical decisions that you probably haven't seen before, I'm running the version 4.52 of Monoposto. That is the newest version as of recording this video. One of the major things to test in that was the new tire strategies. And here's my official feedback to Marco. It's cool that the strategies aren't set in stone, like you start on the mediums and go to the softs. If you're on the softs, you will go to the mediums unless there's not enough time left in the race. As championship leader Marcus Nelson going on to the hard tires with 4 laps to go. That is my biggest problem, however. Drivers coming in for hard tires. I think there's a specific point in the race where if you're coming to the pits, you might as well just put on softs. As in comes the Red Devil going on to soft tires, getting rid of those. I'm going to say this word right now and people might not like me for saying it. Those crusty, musty, hard tires. I'm going to get cancelled. 4 laps to go. And Remy is closing in for what will be, I believe, his 4th ERL Series win. His first 2, in fact, all coming in Buenos Aires. Loves Argentina, does the Frenchman, and he'll be happy to be arriving in Paris come the penultimate round of the season. And a great way to set up for that while he's in Poland is to try and go for the race lead. Lap 12 of 15, and he's not able to do it. He hasn't been able to make the move on the straight. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer. You can see those soft tires beginning to show signs of their age. But I believe Sanchez's hards, well, they are aging a lot more rapidly than Remy's softs. And in fact, into this next turn goes Remy LeBeau, and he takes the lead, sending it down the inside on the DS Andretti driver. It's Catfish now all over the back of Sanchez in front. He might actually be able to get second here. He's looking to try and go round the outside. If he makes this move, it's going to be legendary. And you know what? A legend has been written. Catfish up into second with one of the ballsiest moves I've ever seen in the ERL. And Sanchez losing so much time, and the track position he's gained might not be worth it. Ocampo on the back of Lala Leclerc, whose soft tires absolutely shot, on board with the DS Andretti driver. He's looking to try and get himself ahead of the Trackhouse man in front. 2 laps left to run here in Warsaw, Poland. It's Remy LeBeau. It's at the class of the field all day, ahead of Catfish and Daph Sanchez, whose hard tires are truly ailing him now. In comes Zach Wallace. For Revo today, that 5-second time penalty might have once again hindered his race to all hell, and Techeetah putting him onto those hard tires. Certainly not the smartest decision at all, because now he's down in 10th and he doesn't have the tires to fight the rest of the pack with. He's still with him, and in fact sending it down the inside. That will be 9th position for the 3-time ERL Series champion, but further up the man who's trying to become an ERL Series champion. He took the lead for a second there. Remy is still with him, still has the fastest lap, still has the inside line as they head on to the penultimate lap. Who has attack mode? Remy LeBeau does. He's still alongside him. Catfish may have started lap 14, but there's only going to be one man to lead it. Remy LeBeau back up into first position on the penultimate lap here in Warsaw, Poland. The home driver himself in Xavier Kubica down in 14th position, unfortunately. Not going to be able to put on a show for his fans. Catfish, however, bringing the action, takes the lead in Poland immediately after. This might be like Sao Paulo in the IndyCar series. We might see similar feistiness and a similar finish today. Could we see the 0.05 second barrier be breached in terms of the closest finish in ERL series history? Finishes have come down to a 1/5 of a second, not even a 1/5 of a second. It was a 1/10 of a second, then it became 5/100ths of a second or a 50th of a second. Today, can we see that record matched or even beaten? As we head on to the final lap here in Warsaw, Catfish will lead the field away on the final lap on board of Remy LeBeau, who's led the most laps all day. Catfish currently would win today after only leading how many laps? 1 of them, and it would be the final lap. He's got attack mode, however, does Remy LeBeau in the second sector. He's 6 tenths off the back. He's closing in as much as he can, but his soft tires are not providing any help. 24%, 23% for the Kiro Porsche driver. He probably will not make it to the end of the race. Further back, Revo still making his way through the field. He's up into 7th position now, and I believe that might be as far as the Italian driver will go in terms of his charge through the field. And Sanchez dropping like a rock. Does he have a puncture? He doesn't, but he's into the wall. Yellow flag. He's put Sierra into the wall, and out of the race has gone Scotland Rossack. How has Scotland gone out? I don't know, but it's front wing damage for Sanchez and a race neutralized, which will see the Malaysian Minister of Defense take victory today. The Malaysian Minister of Attack, rather, as it's Catfish who comes across the line and wins the first ever Warsaw E-Prix. Remy LeBeau came across the line in second, 1.13 seconds behind Ocampo 4th, Leclerc 5th, Polstad 6th, Revo 7th. And in terms of the new strategy, certainly very good. And Sanchez coming into the pits, first Leo takes 10th, 500ths behind, instead ahead of Cable. In fact, if you take a look between 8th and 9th, a perfect second between them, and a perfect second between 17th and 19th as well, if you ignore the time penalty. That record set in Oslo might be beaten, but it wasn't meant to be today after Scotland Rossack crashing out of this race and Daph Sanchez hitting the wall in the final sector. But this is the podium then. You can see updates to the podium graphics showing some of our sponsors in DHL, ABB and Vodafone. But Catfish taking home victory ahead of Remy LeBeau, who did gain some very important points today, but knows it could have been so much more. And Ica World, who led the vast majority of this race alongside Remy, both drivers knew that one of them should have won. And yet Catfish swooped in at the very end. Then Sebastian Ocampo, Lalo Leclerc, Falstad, Revo, and Pablo Sierra are the rest of the top 8, followed by Pierre Gasly and Verstio, who took 10th on the line. Outside of the points, you have UK Ball, Ray Shen, Xavier Kubica, Marcus Nelson, Babnis Jr., Zach Wallace, Cosmas Medicis, Red Devil, Daf Sanchez, who ended his race in the pit lane, Daniel Bogdasarov, and Tenali Gabo, with the non-finisher being Scotland Rossack. In the driver's standings, Catfish leads on 91 points ahead of Marcus Nelson on 79. Then it's the Andretti duo of Daf Sanchez and Sebastian Ocampo. Then it's Revo on 71 points. Lawless Leclerc on 54, Ray Shen, Remy Lebeau, the top 8, followed by Ica World, Daniel Bogdasarov, Zach Wallace versus Theo, the Red Devil, Babnis Jr., Falstad, Tenali Gabo, Xavier Kubica, Pierre Gasly, Pablo Sierra, UK Ball, the season 10 and 21 champion, the defending series champion, is down in 20th position, and then the two Nissan Nismos of Scotland Rossack and Cosmas Medicis. In the constructors' standings, heading into the next round of the championship, DS Andretti lead, but only 2 points ahead of DS Cheetah, their own suppliers. Then it's Sims Porsche, Trackhouse Mercedes, Hero Porsche, DS Venturi, McLaren Mercedes, Team Edams Renault, Mercedes EQ, Power Renault, and Nissan Nismo. It's been quite the race today here in Portugal, and we'll be all ready to do it again next time out in Sao Paulo when the ERL IndyCar Series returns. I did say Portugal instead of Poland. I'm stupid.